Do our unit on multiples. So let's start with a definition. So the definition says a multiple of a number is the answer obtained. This is why I have these two highlighted, because multiple is the answer obtained when a number is multiplied by another whole number. So every time that we're thinking about multiples, we're going to be thinking about multiplication, okay? And if it's going to be multiplication, it's going to be larger, okay? The reason why I'm saying this is because the next topic that we're going to do is factors. And a lot of students get confused between multiples and factors. But today we're only going to be talking about multiples. And what we want our brain to remember is that every time that we're talking about multiples, we're talking about the answer obtained when multiplication happens. Okay? So it says here, list the five multiples of 7. So before I do this, I want to show you, we're going to do this example with some blocks. So let me just go here. Fantastic. So I have some blocks here. Okay, yes, I want a grid. Wonderful. So in this grid, as you can see here, I have a block of 1 unit, and I can increase this one up to, I think I can do it up to 10, but I'm going to use the to do example that I have there. So if I put this block here, wonderful. So how many units do I have in that case? So hopefully you're saying, yes, I have 7 units. And if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units, agree? Each one of these squares in this grid will represent 7 units, okay? Wonderful. So if I put another one next to it, then how many do I have? So hopefully you will say 14. Why? Because 7 times 2 will be 14. And another one? 21, and I cannot fit anymore, but I could keep going. I cannot keep putting in. Let's see what happens if I put another one here. Yeah, it's not going to allow me because it doesn't have the space. Okay, that's okay, but I could keep on going, agree, and put in more. So every time that we're thinking about multiples, I want you to start thinking about these trains, okay, that I'm creating, like one after the another wagons that I'm putting of those numbers. So it's going to be large because we're multiplying, so it's going to be large. Wonderful. So now, if we solve this exercise, so we're going to say, what are the first 5 multiples of 7? So we're going to bring another 8 that is going to help us to do this. I don't know how quick you are with your times tables, but in the meantime, I want to show you something. This is called, I'm going to put it here so that I can put it larger. This is called a multiplication grid. Some of you might have already seen something like this. So this multiplication grid, what it's going to tell me is, for example, it doesn't have number 1 because the times tables of 1 is quite easy and self-explanatory. It starts with 2, but 2 times 2, 4. 3 times 3, here we have 9. 4 times 4, 16. 3 times 7, so 3 times 7, 21, okay? Now, notice that if I ask you 3 times 7, you can go here and here and find that this one is going to be 21. But if I ask you what is 7 times 3, you will say, oh, 7 times 3 is not in the multiplication grid. But why this second half of this grid is not filled? Because it's the same one, is the same as the upper half of that grid. So if I want to know what 7 times 3 is, what I can do is say, okay, 3 times 7 is going to be exactly the same thing. Okay? So I know that 7 times 3 is going to be 21. Because 3 times 7 is 21. I have it here. Okay? That makes sense? Wonderful. So with that information here, we're going to use this to fill our answers here. So it says, list the first 5 multiples of 7. So the first one, always, don't forget this. The first one, when I put my first block, how many did I have? 7. So the first one is always going to be 7 times 1, which is 7. And the second one, 7 times 2, 14. And the third one, 7 times 3, 21. And the fourth one, 7 times 4, 28. And the fifth one, 7 times 5, 35. Okay, notice that I am, because they are asking me for the first 5, then the first one has to be times 1, and the last one has to be 7 times 5. And that's how you're going to check that you have had them all. Now, also notice that they have to give me a limit, because if only they say list the multiples of 7 and they don't say how many, where do I end? So I can continue here. 42, 49. Let's go here and see if we can find them all. So if I go to 7, so 7 times 1, 7, 7 times 2, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49. Then what do I do? Continue sideways. 56. Why? Because this 56 will be the same one as if it was here. 56, 63, 70, 77, 84. And I can keep up going. 7 times 13. So that will be 91. And I could keep on going forever and ever and ever and ever. So every time that they're asking you for multiples, they will tell you how many they want. Okay? Wonderful. Now, let's do another example. So here I have this one. Okay, so this one says, write the numbers in the list that are multiples of 8. So the only thing that I have to think about these ones, which one of these ones are multiples of 8? So it's going to be very easy, and we're going to use our multiplication grid. So I'm going to highlight all my multiples of 8 here. They're going to be all of these ones, agree? And then also all the ones here in my line, agree? So all the ones that I have in yellow will be, because if I continue my second half here of the multiplication grid, what is 9 times 8 is the same as 8 times 9, which is 72. And this one will be 80, and this one 88, and this one 96. Wonderful. So let's look about here what we have here. So, okay, 18. Is 18 a multiple? So I go here, 8 and 16, and then it jumps to 24. Therefore, no, it's not. What about 8? Yes, 8 it is, so I'm going to leave it there. Then what about this one? 80. 80, yes, it is. I'll leave it there. What about 100? So I don't have 100 here because I'm finishing at 96. But think about it. What will be the next one if I have a 13 here, like times 13? I will have to add 8 to 96, agree? And 100 is only 4 more than 96. So definitely 100 is not going to be, because the next one here will be 104. Agree? Now 24, yes, 24 is there, so I leave it. 60, what about 60? 56, then it jumps to 64, so 60 definitely no. 9, from 8 it jumps to 16, so 9 is not going to be. And then 40 is here. So which ones are my, so say, write the numbers in the list that are multiples of 8. So the ones that are multiples of 8 are in this list are 8, 80, 24, and 40. Okay, wonderful. I'm going to stop this video here, and then I'm going to continue. Please watch part 2 of this playlist.